Hello, everybody. This is Black Coffee with Ice. We have a dog lover, Gratson specialist, chiropractor, Instagram at Chiro by Day. Listen in to find out what she does at night. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first doctor on the show, Dr. Manny. Yay.
Yay.
What an intro.
Yeah, what a great intro.
So, explain who you are just briefly.
Okay. Well, my name is Dr. Manny, and my last name is Sani. They kind of rhyme. And I work in East Kildonan right now, and I've been there for almost 2 years, and I'm an associate chiropractor there with 4 other doctors as well. And what else?
What
else
else?
would you like to know?
Oh, yeah. We were talking so easy before it started.
What else would you like to know?
What motivated you to become a chiropractor?
Well, this is a really good story. It's actually pretty interesting. So I started off doing everything to go into optometry. So my plan was to do optometry school. And at the same time, my mom was pretty sick. So I started, it was a little stressful with stuff going on at home with her. And it seemed like every year while I was in undergrad at U of M, she was getting a surgery for something else. And it just seemed a little intense to me that it was like, okay, if this isn't working for you, let's jump to surgery. And I'm like, there has to be something in between, and it was really frustrating because I don't know, I guess I had honestly didn't know what else was out there for her. And so, you know how schools have career fair days? And so just like any other student, I wanted free stuff too, like free pens and all of that. So I was there, and the school I ended up going to was there. And one of the girls there was talking to me, and it just seems like, when you have those things in your head where you're thinking and then the universe brings it to you.
It's true. It happens.
Yeah. And so that's how I always say this about this girl. Her name was Chantel. So I always say that about her because when I was going through thinking all about these things that my mom could have had done, I'm like, I don't understand. There was nothing there. So she came up to me and started telling me about chiropractic. And at first I was like, I don't really know anything about it. I was a little skeptical too. And so when she was talking about it, she's like, we can help with low back pain. We can help with lots of things. Everything's natural. It's a lot your body can heal itself. There's different alternatives as well. There's acupuncture as well at the school. There's massage therapy. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. So I got in touch with the career mentor services that I think that are at U of M still. And then I got in touch with them to shadow a few chiropractors. And so when I shadowed them, first I was like, they're whatever.
Yeah.
Not a big thing. But this one doc, he's on Pembina, and he actually was only supposed to see me for an hour. He's let me stay there for 4 hours. And we talked for so long, and I had a list of questions, and he's like, I really want you to shadow more doctors. I don't want you to just feel like I'm the only one. This is how chiropractic is. You need to talk to a lot of them. So I went back again, found another doctor, same thing again. The more I started doing it, the more I started liking it. And so then I thought, okay, you know what? I'll apply to the school. So before I applied to the school, I contacted them. And I said, I'm really interested. And they were like, okay, what experience do you have with, with chiropractors? I'm like, not much. I've just shadowed 3 or 4 at the time. And they're like, you should really go back and shadow a few more because this is a huge investment.
Oh, they said that too.
Yeah. And they're like, this is a huge investment. And plus I went to a US school as well. So you're paying in American dollars, right?
Damn.
So they were like, we recommend this to all Canadians, especially if they're not that familiar with the field, to definitely see more. So I saw about another 3, and I was like, you know what? This is it.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. I didn't even apply to do the optometry admission test. I went straight to, yeah. So I went straight into applying for there. And the thing was that because I was almost done my science degree, I already did the requirements for chiropractic a year earlier. And so I was already ready to go. I applied. I had a few references, and within 3 months, I got accepted. And so I wanted to start in January of 2013 because I wanted to be able to make money because I knew I wouldn't be able to work in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
So, and, I was working a lot, and then the school reached out, and they're like, hey, a spot opened up for the fall. do you want to come in the fall? And I was like, no, I don't have the money right now. And they're like, okay, all right, that's fine. And then they said, just so you know, there are actually scholarships available. And so there was a scholarship. I got a few throughout my whole time there. There was lots of different ones that were available. Like, I mean, any scholarship you get, even if it's $100, it helps. It's not a big deal, right? So
just chips away.
Yeah, it helps, and especially if it's $100 US, that's almost like a lot in Canadian.
Yeah.
And so I got into the school, and I loved it. I actually really loved it. It was a little more stressful because I had to move. And on top of that, you don't get a summer break if you go to school in the States.
Yeah, just sorry to interject here, but just what you told me before we started the podcast, I didn't even know about it, that you can do an accelerated program like you did. So can you just explain that?
Yeah. So how it worked, at my school, I went to Minneapolis. So at the school there, it goes by trimesters. And so you would have, like, midterm week was like 3 midterms a day for like 4 days straight. Some of them were labs. No one cared. You all went through it together. And then the finals, same thing. But the thing was, you would get a week or 2 weeks off. Christmas time, I think, was the longest. We got 3 weeks off. And then summers were 2 weeks. And you just kept going.
2 weeks?
Surprisingly, 2 weeks was actually enough, because I think just driving home to Winnipeg, and then that's like an 8-hour drive, because you got to put in the construction in there too, the construction time. And so, I mean, I feel like just driving was probably enough to de-stress me. Just
listen to some music, chill out, see your family.
Right. And then you go home and you're rested and you're ready to go again. So it actually didn't feel as bad. And I'm so glad I did it that way, because it was just done quicker. A lot quicker. And I feel like there are some other programs in different professions. I know nursing has one that's similar in Alberta.
Yeah, you can get it done in like 2 years, I think.
Something like that. Again, they also don't get a summer, but at least you're done a lot faster.
It's all about give and take, right? Like, you want to be busier in a shorter amount of time, or do you want to stretch it out? Because I know some chiropractic schools some are even 5 years long, aren't they? Yeah.
I think the Canadian ones are, I believe.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly. It might be the one in Toronto, because they do get a summer break there.
Here at Black Coffee with Ice, one of the niches that we're focusing on is healthcare, different health modalities, longevity, living a healthy life. I don't know if you follow chiropractors online at all.
There's a few. Yeah.
Do you know that Dr. Joseph Cipriano? He's kind of like he's like a thicker guy. He's
he has a YouTube channel too.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the Y strap. That guy. Yeah. I messaged him before he was big time. Like, now he has hundreds of thousands of followers, but I talked to him when he had like a couple thousand, because I am obsessed with chiropractic videos on YouTube. And the main reason I asked him, I was like, because I have an internal debate in my head, like chiro or medicine. Like, I've always had to battle with this my whole life, and I just didn't know which one I'd want to do. And when I asked him what made him choose chiropractic over other health care modalities, he told me that chiropractic is more preventative rather than reactionary. So if you're a surgeon, you're going to be fixing a guy or a girl who, has arthrosclerosis, and that's like a whole lifetime buildup of like an unhealthy lifestyle. I mean, genetics play a role, but he was telling me chiropractic's more preventative. I know you said that you liked chiro, but is there any other specific reasons why you went with that instead of optometry?
The more I learned about it, I realized that it was probably, like, I still wonder to this day, had my mom started with chiropractic, like, how different would her life be right now?
Because she's an optometrist?
No. My mom, because she had so many surgeries and all that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So, no. So I always wonder, because her range of motion it's a little limited at this point, and she just retired. So I always wonder, like, what would it have been like had, she had started. And so with optometry, I found, it's very interesting, but I didn't know if I would like to look into people's eyes all the time. That's just me. So with the spine, when people come in with chiropractic, it's so many different things. It's either low back, neck pain, shoulder, TMJ, like so many things. So it's not like I'm just sticking to one thing, which I like better. I feel like it just makes my brain work a lot better when everyone's coming with something different, because I don't want to I feel like if it's something similar, this is like with any routine I may have. If it's similar for too long, I get bored.
No, that's definitely me too.
Yeah. So I need to be like stimulated and doing different things. And then on top of it, there's something I don't know too much about. I love researching it. I love learning. And so I feel like that was one of the more things that I enjoyed more about it. And also with just that it's very natural. Like there's the body can do a lot by itself that we don't even realize it can do.
Your body repairs itself when it sleeps. You know, your body fights off all these infections, pathogens. Your body can heal itself. I just wanted to ask you, what do you say to people that